Welcome to the Doctor. In this video we are going to see top 10 Azure SQL Database Administrator interview questions. Number 1. How many replicas are maintained for each SQL Azure DB? Windows Azure SQL Database keeps 3 replicas of each database, 1 primary replica and 2 secondary replicas. All read-write happen on primary replica and other replicas are kept in sync with primary replica. If for some reason, primary goes down, other replica is promoted to primary. All this happens under the hood.
Number 2. What is SQL Azure? SQL Database is a fully managed platform as a service, PaaS database engine that handles most of the database management functions such as upgrading, patching, backups, and monitoring without user involvement. Azure SQL Database is always running on the latest stable version of the SQL Server database engine and patched OS with 99.99% availability. PaaS capabilities that are built into Azure SQL Database enable you to focus on the domain-specific database administration and optimization activities that are critical for your business. With Azure SQL Database, you can create a highly available and high-performance data storage layer for the applications and solutions in Azure. Number 3. What is SQL Azure Firewall? The Azure SQL Database Firewall restricts requests to your Azure SQL Database to only specific IP addresses that you allow. Number 4. What is the difference SQL Azure having from SQL Server? SQL Azure is a cloud-based service, and so it has own set of pros and cons when compared to SQL Server. SQL Azure service benefits includes on-demand provisioning, high availability, reduced management overhead and scalability. But SQL Azure abstracts some details from the subscriber which can be good or bad, which depends on the context of the need. Number 5. What is cloud computing? Cloud computing is the delivery of computing services, including servers, storage, databases, networking, software, analytics, and intelligence over the Internet, the cloud, to offer faster innovation, flexible resources, and economies of scale. You typically pay only for cloud services you use, helping lower your operating costs, run your infrastructure more efficiently, and scale as your business needs change. Number 6. What is the index requirement in SQL Azure? All tables must have clustered index. You can't have a table without clustered index. Number 7. Which tools are available to manage SQL Azure databases and servers? We can manage SQL Azure Database using SQL Server Management Server 2008 R2. Also, we can manage SQL Azure databases and servers through a Silverlight app integrated in Azure Management Portal.
Number 8. Tell me something about security in SQL Azure. SQL Azure Service allows blocking a request based on its IP address through SQL Azure Firewall. It uses SQL Server authentication mechanism to authenticate connections. Also, connections to SQL Azure are SSL encrypted by default.
Number 9. How do we synchronize on-premise SQL Server with SQL Azure? We could use a no-code solution called DataSync to synchronize on-premise SQL Server with SQL Azure. We can also develop custom solutions using Sync Framework.
Number 10. How do we backup SQL Azure data? SQL Azure keeps 3 replicas of a database to tackle hardware-level issues. To tackle user-level errors, we can use copy command that allows us to create a replica of a SQL